What's up, everyone? So today we have this Honda here. It's a HRX 217, and as you can tell, I started working on it. I was going to make a video on this because, well, it's a common thing that I already have a video on, so why bother? But I quickly learned the problem. Now, the problem for this machine was it would do two things. Either one of the wheels, this one, just wouldn't work at all, and two, when it did work, it would often lock up and kind of grind itself, and it would be really hard to even move it without picking up by the handle and just using the front two wheels to, basically just having to use two wheels to four. Best way to describe it. Anyway, so I took a 14 millimeter, and I took the bolt that puts the wheel on, and all of a sudden, this is what I found. I'm sure you're kind of already seen it. There's no gear there. And you can tell there's a little bit of plastic going on in there. And there's a gear right there. So, the owner of this machine is a professional. This is one of his guys. He needs it immediately. And I tried calling everywhere around my location. I can't find a good wheel. I don't have a spare one. I have the front one, but I don't have a rear one. Of course, because the rear ones are the ones that break, and I don't have spares of those. And so what we're going to do is two things. One, I'm going to repair it, but two, I'm going to tell you what you should do instead of what we're doing right now. This is basically if you need an emergency, or if it lasts long enough, it could just be until it breaks permanently, and then you can just buy the new wheel. Having said that, let's talk about what we're going to do. First things first is we need to get this cleaned up a little bit. We don't want any additional issues here. Now there's two washers on there, and the stacking is important, so I like to put them in a group on my table. I know exactly how they're stacked. I won't touch them again until I actually put them on the machine. Or if you don't want to do that, just pay attention to the stacking order. What is it, a waffle washer? I don't remember. It's basically just like it has a little bit of a wave in it. In addition to that, we need to get this gear kind of cleaned up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some brake parts cleaner on this, not the wheel, because that's plastic, and brake parts cleaner isn't real friendly with plastics. I'm going to get this cleaned up. More importantly, I'm going to clean up the interior part of it. I might even use like a brush on a Dremel or a drill just to get this nice and clean. And what we're going to be doing is I cleaned it up on the inside as best as I can. It's hard because it's like a lot of tight crevices, but I like to use this. Some Gorilla Glue. It says it bonds to metal, glass, fabric, wood, ceramic, leather, paper, plastic, and more. Permanent bond. It's supposed to be really good. I've used it half a dozen times. Nothing on something like this, but on other projects. I think Mini P&W had used it for a couple of his school projects and never said anything bad about it. So, I usually like to have like a little bit of extra plastic here, and then you could kind of take like a torch, get it a little warm, and kind of move the plastic around, kind of be like an extra layer. But that has soon been, looks like, broken and ground off, so we don't really have a whole lot of anything to work with right there. You could potentially like take like zip ties or something and melt them to it and all kinds of stupid stuff like that, but we're already doing something sketchy, so we don't need to make this uber sketchy, you know what I mean? So let's take the glue off. Now, this glue, unfortunately, does say you need 24 hours, but we're gonna... Well, technically, the owner is gonna be using it tomorrow. So this should be at least good enough for us to see if it fixes our problem for the time being. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is a real hack job and whatever, but this literally is only because the owner needs this today. Well, tomorrow. He's going to pick it up later today, but he needs it. very, very quickly. And he has a little bit of a yard to do, not a lot. I think he said it's like 1,500 square feet. And his other mowers, the owner of the property, doesn't like the fact that they're heavier. And we live in the Northwest, so it's a little rainy right now. Not currently, but it has been. So the ground is super wet and squishy. So you have a very heavy lawnmower mowing squishy dirt grass. It's just not a good thing. So the owner of the property asked if he could use something smaller. And this is the smallest machine he has, because he usually doesn't do it. I don't know why he's doing it for this person, but that's not my problem. I'm going to let this sit for half an hour, and then I'll bring you back and we'll put the wheel on. I might just put the wheel on because, well, I guess we just do that right now. It's not like it has to sit there for, flat like that. It might be a good idea. No, I'm going to wait because it is still a little bit pliable, so I might add a little like a heat gun or something to kind of speed this along. Anyone who has seen my previous videos knows that I like to use a little torch to kind of heat things up. I don't believe a torch is probably going to be the best of ideas in this situation. So back in the day, I would tint my tail lights, and I'd wrap a couple areas of my vehicle. And if you ever wrap a vehicle, you know you need a heat gun. And that's what this is, a heat gun. We're going to go on low and just kind of get it warm. Never mind, that's low. Whoops. I mean, worst case scenario, the plastic melts and we fix it a different way. So I'm going to do this for another minute or so just to kind of get it warm and dry the glue as much as we can before we install it, so we don't have to worry about it sitting here overnight. But this, I'm sure you're aware, is not probably the best of ideas, but it is what it is. So I'm going to, let's give it a quick little, it's still a little squishy. Not bad though. Anyway, I'm going to put this away and then we will put the wheel on. It's been about half an hour. I did the cooking trick a little bit and took my air compressor, blew some air on it and everything. We should at least be good enough to put it on. Something's not engaging right in there. Okay, well, that's at least okay. This should be relatively, there we go. I was looking right there. The shaft, I couldn't see it. It should be relatively close to the end. Or it looks like it's actually protruding out a little bit. And there we go. Now, it should, yeah. I think we have a couple other problems, but that was at least one of them. So I'm not going to go over the other problems with this machine because trust me, there's going to be another video on that. But this is a weird temporary solution I want to bring up. Now, what we're going to do right now is this. I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'm going to tell him, in fact, I already did tell him, I'm going to order 2 new wheels. They, unfortunately, are not going to be here about 3 to 5 days. That's well outside of his time frame, so we're doing this. Is this a permanent fix? No. Could it? If you want to, sure, why not? But the real fix is just going to be buying a new set of wheels. It's just what you need to do. So if you're having this problem, buy a new set of wheels. But if you need to use it today, this method is a pretty good idea. stronger the glue, the better. Make sure it does both plastics and metal. Make sure everything's nice and clean, and when you put it on there, you should be good to go. So, I'm going to leave you at that. If you like what you see, keep watching, subscribe, follow me on Instagram as SmallEngine101. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night.